Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet about writing that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the incredible co-authors of one of our newest books. You guys, this is one that I was very passionate about leading. It's called Writing, The Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers. And we're going to talk to three of our contributing authors today. The first is Miss KJ Kashula. She is Brave Kids Books publishing director, a children's book author, and illustrator of the Super Duper Secret collection and our very own Brave Kids Short Stories for World Changers collaboration. She's also a book designer. Welcome, Kelly. I'm glad you're here today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You guys, I also have Karen Black with us. She's the founder and CEO of Talent Finders Worldwide, LLC, and Faces of Hope. She's a serial entrepreneur, publicist, and philanthropist. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you so much, Laura, for having me. Thank you.
And Nicole May is here, you guys. She's the founder of Lady May Impressions and a renegade artist that weaves her experience and wisdom into various art mediums to heal and bring awareness to mental health. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
You guys know I'm excited about this writing topic, right? So like I thought about these expert collaborations that we were up to, and we've done a lot of health and wellness books, and we have been bringing amazing individuals into our community to write. And we write for a lot of reasons around here. We write to heal and we write to make an income. The writing projects themselves are transformational for so many different reasons. And I was like, why haven't we done a book on writing yet? Like, there's so many different ways that we can use writing to enhance our lives, right? And so I was so excited to be bringing this particular book into the world. And we're moving forward with our writing book project to help you listeners with all the different topics you're interested in. And so today you're going to learn about three of them, really specific, amazing topics from these ladies. So Kelly, I'm going to start with you. I really want to know first from all of you today, what has writing meant to you in your life in general?
Writing for me has meant I could breathe. I discovered a while ago that if I don't write and I don't become creative, then I can't breathe. And so it's a way that I can breathe, that I can live, and it's connects to my soul because I know that I am doing something bigger than just being on earth. And so I can impart some good words of wisdom, of healing, of creating conversations between mom and dad and the kiddo and bringing family bonds together. So that's what it's meant to me.
So when you say it helps you breathe, I mean, this is healing to me. And, you know, writing to heal is woven throughout this book in many different ways. You specifically, we're going to talk about it in a few minutes about writing for kids. But for you personally, when you say it lets me breathe, are you picking up a pen on the bad days because of that? What do you tell? Give me a little window into that.
Well, what it is basically, I've realized that if I am not creative within my life, whether it is within a week, within a month, then I kind of feel like I'm shutting down. So when I say writing helps me breathe, it helps me be my full soul self during either a week or month, because in my lifetime does not really exist. Monday is every day. And so if I can just get to that writing or get to the creative part, then I know everything's going to be okay.
I love that. I feel similarly, and appreciate you kicking off this whole interview today with your personal piece about that it feels like breath to you. All right, you guys, we're going to hear a little bit more from Kelly, and specifically about, writing for children in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to move to you, Nicole. Tell me a little bit about what writing has meant to you in your life.
Writing to me has meant a lifeline. It's meant it's meant to help me grow. For me, that's what writing has been. It's saved my life. It has helped me realize things and keep moving forward.
Writing saved my life. Can we go there for a minute? Because that just takes I write to breathe, which is very close, up a notch, right? Tell me more about that.
So for me, when I was younger, I had really traumatic childhood, like so many people I know, and I didn't really know how to cope. So for me, someone slipped me a journal and said, write, and it had some poetry in it. And from that day forward, when I would have those dark feelings you get when you're going through all these different things and you're in your preteens and your teenage years, and there's all those hormones and you don't know what to do with yourself, instead of going down a bad path or a dangerous path or a final path, I wrote. And that writing helped me get everything inside out. And it helped me see patterns in myself. It helped me see where I could grow. It helped me get to the root of what was really wrong with me. But most importantly, it got it out so I didn't internalize it and I didn't take that to a bad place.
Yeah. I'm reading more and more about the modality of writing and as people share their stories about this and their traumatic stories, and just wondering about those magical moments that you all, I think you would agree, writing is an awareness tool when you're in a state like that. So as Nicole says, and you're moving it out of your head and onto the paper, you then make space. And that awareness, being able to look at it, literally, it's not in you anymore. It's a bit outside of you onto that paper right there can be a magic wand for many people. Like, whoa, they look at their notebooks and they're like, do I think that? Like, is that me? Like, oh, look at me on that page. Okay. And now all of a sudden with the awareness, you have choices. What else do you want to say about that, Nicole?
Well, it's also a good medium for self-compassion, because a lot of us, especially trauma survivors, you get to be really hard on yourself and you're striving for perfection so that you don't have to experience the trauma again. What I do a lot of times is not only do I look at it, which I have 100% been like, what? That's what I'm upset about, so there's that. But then you can take it a step further and you can write out how you would address this for someone else and then read it back to yourself. So you can, if you combine it with reading out loud, sometimes that's more impactful because different people take in things visually or audibly, right? So it's helpful, and it's something that you have with you everywhere. That's the other thing I love about writing. You have a napkin at the bar stool, right? And those little quick draw pencils, and you just write, you know what I mean? Like it's just anywhere you go to be able to reach deep inside. And if you do it from a place, I would say this, if you do it from a place of non-judgment and self-compassion, you'll get more out of it because you're not judging yourself while you're writing everything out. And that is when the magic really happens, because that's when you look at it and go, oh, okay, that's bothering me. Oh, okay, this is really what I need to work on.
Yes, powerful. Napkin writing, everyone. Go
Napkin
grab
writing.
it. Doesn't matter, right? We're not writing many times. We're not writing for anyone else to read. And that's really, really key, especially since we're here publishing a book about writing, where we want to talk to people about writing to heal, but we also want to talk to people about building their writing skills, right? But in the beginning, it is whatever you need it to be, especially if it's a lifeline. Nicole, thank you for coming back to this project. You've been in several of our books, and I greatly thank you for being here again.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Karen, tell us a little bit about what writing has meant to you in your life.
So thanks, Laura. Yeah, writing for me, because I think I have such a busy mind and I'm highly analytical. I think just due to like Nicole was mentioning, certain situations shift things. And then for me, like one dramatic scenario situation sort of pushed me into becoming like highly attentive to detail, and then also highly analytical. So I think for me, when I write, I usually, like I said, just mind dump. So I don't like punctuate or anything. I just write everything and put everything out. But I also think that it's really just about like a personal journey, and it's also about the power of storytelling. I think for me, that's so significant. And thinking back on it, when I started my PR journey was, I realized back then, and that was probably more than like 15 years ago now, how significant the power of storytelling is. And so for me, I find that in some instances, because for some people writing comes very naturally. But for me, I find that it takes up a huge amount of my emotional and mental energy. So, but yeah, it helps. It's such a point of relief when you can just write it down, So whether that's journaling or whether that's, doing what we did for this book, or contributing a piece to a magazine or an article to a blog, whatever. It's kind of like, okay, once it's out there, then it's kind of a release, because it's not all sitting inside compounding. So for me, I just find it a huge emotional and mental release, and also just be able to, to share. And the power of storytelling for me is highly significant. So that's what it means.
Let's go back to that mind dump for just a second, because I know a lot of people use writing like that. When you're, well, do you do that every day? And like when you're in the middle of it, are you attempting to just not attach and just literally get it out on the paper, or is there an intention?
I definitely think there's an intention behind it, but in some instances, it's just you need to get it out because it's consuming too much internal energy and mental energy. So, but yeah, I mean, everything has to be for me intentional, and it has to have some sort of significance or, story behind it. It's not just about solely writing for the sake of writing. So yeah, and also I think just taking pen to paper or even just typing something out. But I specifically feel like when you physically write something, the energy from you goes through the pen onto the paper. So it's like whether you're trying to manifest something or you're trying to, make sense of something. I think that it's just the power of the energy from, an individual or from humanity, onto the paper is seriously powerful. And then you can always take it and translate it or type it out. But I think it's just the power of the hand and the pen and the personal energy that goes into it. So
For sure.
yeah.
For sure, for sure. If you guys want to dive down a little bit of a rabbit hole, just Google the brain science behind handwriting and look at the things that come up about why pen on paper is a way to connect, like at a much deeper level. I love the therapeutic stuff out there about It's called narrative therapy, and that's a psychological term you guys can Google as well, in terms of the healing power of literally writing your story, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this topic, like I want to talk about this topic all day long. Okay, let's get into a little bit of your chapters, all of you. Nicole, I'm going to start with you. Tell us the why, but you guys could have picked so many stories to share in this beautiful book. And I'll say thank you to all of you first, because when I say, hey, authors, give me a real story, something that's vulnerable, that helps the reader get to know you, right? That you all did that brilliantly. And you could have picked one of many, many stories. Y'all have been around a minute, right? You've had experiences. So, Nicole, I want to know the why behind your story and chapter.
So this is a story I actually hadn't really told folks. When I saw the project, and I wanted to be a part of the project because I'm very passionate about writing as well, and I'm very passionate about it for mental health. I sat down and I just honestly, this story of how this all started for me really just would not let go. And it's so far back, and it started with reading, not writing, right? It started with somebody encouraging me to read and to read beyond my level. And she saw that I was struggling. And at the time, we didn't know as much about the different ways your brain can be wired, right? So I was just weird back then. But she saw that I needed more than what the school was giving me. She saw that I was capable of reading at a different level. And she encouraged me. And it turned into this escape for me, even at a young age, even though I wasn't writing yet. It turned into this escape to read, to go into the books, to go into another world, to be able to live and immerse myself in that, to escape what's happening in real life. And so for me, that story, that's really where my writing journey began. And then later, unfortunately, my mother ended up with cancer and she passed away. And I was 15. So I was not very prepared for that. I was already dealing with the teenage stuff. And my counselor, passed me the journal, and my writing teacher that helped me stay in school, helped me, encouraged me to be myself, who saw past my neuro differences, right? The way that I process information, the way that I respond to things, the way that I do things was different. And he saw that, but he leveraged it. He said, this is good for you. He saw the ability, he saw the potential in me, and he encouraged me. And when she handed me that journal, it set me on a path that I would never deviate from. And honestly, that being able to write poetry was my first foray into writing. And being able to write poetry, to get those feelings out, to process my emotions, and to read them back, for me was huge. Saved my life over and over and over again. I have no doubt. So that's why I chose that story.
I love listening to that story. Gosh, thank you to all the people out there who inspired us, the ones that Nicole is talking about, the ones that handed us a journal and a pen, the ones that encouraged us versus scared us away from it, because you all have met people where the big red mark on your paper, like people never wrote again after that teacher or whatever that experience was, right? So I love, Nicole, that you had these people that back then who were doing the opposite thing. And yeah, yay for all of you. I love those teachers and those mentors. Okay, so let's hear more why here. Karen, tell me a little bit about the why behind your chapter and story.
Well, for me, it was such an honor, because I think that I really needed to educate and, assist people in understanding the benefits of PR and, and the power of storytelling. So I really feel like it's going to educate, and it's an educational tool besides, telling my personal story, in the biography. Because I think that there's so much misunderstood or kind of misconceptions or misunderstandings or misinterpretations of what PR actually is, or the benefit of why I chose to speak about PR and publicity. And again, also just going back to the point of really the base of it is the power of storytelling behind it. But yeah, I just as a real education tool, and actually it's going to help enable, and I'll be able to utilize it also better for my clients to be able to onboard them, because very often there's an expectation, and because again, they what you don't know, you don't know, right? So I think that from an education standpoint, I really felt it necessary to and wanted to, because I just never had a platform up until it was offered through what you're doing, to be able to help educate. So I think that was the core behind it.
I love that. Thank you for going there in your answer. I was talking to somebody recently about what they did for a living, and we got back to this moment where I asked her, "Hey, I need you to educate me." We're so in our topics that we teach. We're masters of these topics, and we don't realize some people don't even know the basics of what we do and how to do it, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, that education is super important. So yeah.
And also it's a long game, because I think a lot of people think that, I mean, I'm sure you probably get that as well in writing, that it's sort of an instantaneous, because I think we live in a society where it's instant gratification and we need to see results now, and everything is now. But for what I do, it's a long game. So I think that's also part of the chapter as well.
For sure, and more of the education of it. Okay, Miss Kelly, I want to hear the why behind your story.
The why behind my story, I wanted to give readers an insight into a writer's brain and where it begins from the spark of the idea to the actual manuscript that sits in your hand. And I wanted to show them that it's not instantaneous, like Karen said. It is a process. You have a spark that is, and you get inspired by, whether it is a newspaper article, or it is something that you heard somebody whispered on the street, or a color, or a visual image. And the spark kind of like lives with you, and it's kind of becomes a sort of muse that speaks to your soul and calls you to write the story. And I wanted to show what would happen if you listen to the muse and you follow this journey. And I wanted to point out also the fact that writers are unique. They each have their own personal writing journey and way of writing that is not the same as your friend or some amazing writer that is famous. If you can understand your own personal writing journey, then you're golden. Then you can reproduce writing on a scale that's going to make you very happy.
Yeah, your unique voice in writing is why your writing matters. I'm talking to everyone listening who's curious about writing. And if you really drop into that idea that you are the only one with your unique story and voice, and even if the story sounds similar to other people's stories, they can't tell it in the way only you can tell it, that somebody needs to hear or read. And you just got me thinking about that piece of things, which is part of my why, honestly. So I love that. I love that so much. All of you, to again, thank you for taking up that challenge, not only to share your story, but now we've got master tools in this book, you guys. So you aren't going to just read the stories, which are healing in and of themselves. You're going to get the master teachings from every single one of our authors, whether it be writing that children's story. McCole's going to talk about building characters, and Karen is going to educate about PR. We have so many other topics coming up in this interview series and in the book. You're going to get practical application. You're going to get some step-by-step, like, here's what we want you to practice. Here's what we want you to do. Here are the secrets, the shortcuts, the ways that you can get better at this, or the ways, multiple ways you can heal through writing, right? And as I'm describing this right now, like, y'all are hearing my why for the entire project. It's because there's so many aspects of writing that are profound and powerful that I wanted to bring all of my friends together to give you all of these golden nuggets in one place. So you're going to have the master toolkit for writing here. So excited about this book. So I want to give each of our authors a chance to give you all what they think is the most important thing about their chapter topic. Okay. So Karen, you're first on this one. If you were to give us that most important thing you want people to know about storytelling in terms of the publicity, we all want more publicity. If you're out there as a business owner, you're doing writing for business building, networking, all the things, right? Tell us that one golden nugget, Karen.
So we all have a story, but again, what is critically important, especially when you're pitching like to a journalist, or you're pitching for a radio interview or TV or whatever, is obviously to have the subject line has got to be something that's really catchy, and short and sweet. So, it would be like, what's the 3 words that are going to catch, the receiver of that email's attention, be it the journalist or producer of a TV or radio. And then, of course, in the body of the email. So when you're pitching, never send attachments, because people do not open attachments. And also, again, it's a very brief bio of the person, and just the very key fundamental points of what within the industry that person is in. So, for example, like if we were talking about Kelly and the book, it would be obviously the series would obviously be her bio, then the series, and just talking about the impact of short stories, and the series that she's put together. So again, just everything must be in the body of the email, short and concise, and the subject matter. So that's really the key, and that goes across the board, whether it's radio, TV, magazine, etc. So I would say that is a key fundamental thing.
Thank you. And of course, y'all need to read the full chapter for the step-by-step. And actually, Karen had me at email subject line, because I know how important those very few words are to get your email opened in the first place. And she could teach an entire course on that one topic, you guys. So when you're thinking about what's in these chapters for you in terms of strategy and tools, I hope you're getting excited, because a pitch could change your whole world if it's done right.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, Karen. Okay, so Kelly, I want the most important thing you want us to know about writing our first children's story.
Well, because we're talking about children's story, I would like to point you to one of the probably greatest lines that helped me with writing, and that is in Finding Nemo in the Pixar film, where Dory just says, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And so my little nugget is just keep writing, just keep going. You start with the spark, and then you work through my chapter, through that. I've got about 10 steps, and you do one, and then you just do this next one. And so that is the biggest nugget, because that would get you from that beautiful idea that's in your heart to the words on the screen to the book in your hand.
I think you summed it up for all writing, even not even just children's, where we get maybe we get a little stuck. I don't believe in writer's block, y'all. I think that's BS. I think you're just in your head too much and you forgot to be in your body. So there's my little tip for the day, like breathe, people, and keep writing. Like just get in your body and keep writing, right? It's gonna be okay. And I can't wait for you to see Kelly's chapter on writing your children's story. If you just have had a dream of this, she's setting you up for success with a really beautiful step-by-step structure there. So thank you, Kelly, for all you poured into that chapter. That chapter is going to change people. And we hope you guys come and check out Brave Kids Books, our children's book publishing imprint, because we want to make that easy for you. The other thing that Kelly is reminding me of is like, you got to just keep writing and get out of your own way. There are editors for perfection. This is not the stage to get stuck in perfectionism. You have to keep writing and moving it out of you so that then later you can pull the professionals around you to make that thing shine. And so many people get stuck in the beginning of the process because they're trying to make it perfect right away. I know Kelly's understands that for sure. Is there anything else you want to say about that?
No, I think I got that beautiful nugget down.
All right, good. Okay, Nicole, you're gonna close us out today with your golden nugget, and you explore meditative creative writing in your chapter. What's the most important thing you want us to know about that?
So so my chapter is this weird hybrid, right? I write fiction as well. And then I, use writing as a tool to heal. So I'm kind of in that middle space. And you can use your writing to develop your character or your characters and their character, right? So when you do a meditative creative writing exercise, what you're really doing is setting the stage for yourself and then being able to go into that. You basically leverage the free writing when you come out of it, write everything you remember. And when you read back through that, you may find that there's a story there, like a brand new story. Maybe there's not. Maybe there's something more insightful for you to help you work on yourself. But I would say this, because I feel like a lot of people get hung up on, I don't have time. I don't have time for meditative creative writing. I don't have time for writing at all. But if you think you don't have time for writing, then take 5 minutes, set a timer, and just write. 5 minutes, set a timer, and write. If you want to put a guided meditation on in the background, even better, but 5 minutes and write. Everyone has at least 5 minutes you can start with. So just start with that. That would probably be the biggest nugget, is so that people don't get stuck in that I don't have time, or they think that it has to be a whole big production for you to sit down and start writing. I personally fall prey to that. Sometimes I want to have the perfect space when I sit down to write, but sometimes just a timer, just write it all out, and then look back through it and see what resonates with you or what doesn't resonate with you.
Everyone can find the 5 minutes. Take the social apps off your phone. You'll have hours. Okay. That would be my one tip for carving some writing time into your day, you guys. Okay. So I wrote several chapters in this book. I have a lot of writing topics that I'm really passionate about. But as you guys were talking, I was thinking about, well, what tip would I give today? So I'm going to hone in on my copywriting chapter for just a second. And I'm going to say that the most important thing I want you to know about what you're writing to promote your business, right? That's copywriting, not copyright, RIGHT, copywriting, WRITE, right? Copywriting. It's the writing you're doing to sell your offers. The nugget is, this is about what your ideal client wants, not what you know they need. So when you write in a way that makes them understand that you have what they want, their deepest desires and dreams for their life, you're going to have powerful writing that brings them in wanting to know more about what you do and what you offer. So that's my quickie tip today on the copywriting chapter that I wrote. Kelly, Karen, Nicole, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone. This, you all know, this is way more than a book. This is a generous community of amazing humans who all have a desire to help you with your writing and all of your projects and the things that you're doing. So please drop on down into the show notes where I have everybody hooked up with their websites. Go find out about writing a children's story. If you need PR for your business, go check out Karen's offerings, right? Nicole has so many beautiful things to check out on her website, including beautiful books of poetry, multiple books, first of all, and all of the different kinds of things that she is up to in the world with her art and her, oh my gosh, Nicole, when I think of your list, I'm like, people just need to click on all of those links and check you out. And I hope you all will do that, because if you have a question after today's interview, these gals are here to answer it. You need a little bit of support in these topics. These gals are here for you, right? This is way more than just a book. And also, of course, we hope that you hop over to Amazon today and buy your copy of this beautiful book called Writing, The Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers. We're excited to have you get this just toolkit of mastery in writing in your hands. Lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words will change the world when you're brave enough to share them. It is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.